This should have ended like 2 minutes ago.
What happened to the Destiny comic?
There was a bunch of them.
Okay.
Anna Bray was in one of them.
Who?
Anna Bray.
Was
She
Peter
had a
Dinklage in one?
girlfriend. She's one of them lesbians.
All right, that one got me. That was worth it.
She checks all the demographic boxes for Destiny. Not only does she practice the lesbianisms, she's also an Asian.
Hi, everybody. This is Pop Culture Unboxing, and you're going to love this because we have no clue what we're doing.
Why does that sound like a kids like show intro, like a Coco Melon intro or something? like that?
I don't know.
By the way, just real quick, I know we're like you're waiting for an intro, but I do have something really funny. Did you see that PewDiePie got in trouble with YouTube for making a diss track about Coco Melon?
No.
Do you know what Coco Melon is? It's like a kids YouTube channel that teaches them, go to the bathroom. It teaches them like little growing
Baby
up
things.
Baby things, yeah, like what you would teach them in preschool and stuff like that. But it has a video
pictures.
Yeah, a video around a certain subject it teaches them. But like PewDiePie just went and diss tracked them and got in trouble for it. And YouTube said it's because he was bullying. It's like,
Oh
but
my
it's
God.
a YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just
I
so
made a
weird.
joke. I'm such a bully.
It's just weird because I haven't watched PewDiePie in a long time, but I saw him starting to do the Coco Melon stuff because he did his intro is like very reminiscent of Coco Melon. I was like, okay, PewDiePie's on a new meme that he's doing, and then I find out he does a diss track like months later. I'm like, what in the what's going on with PewDiePie?
Oh my God.
I was like, PewDiePie's doing some weird stuff now.
I'll be
man.
impressed
Has he
when he
ever
goes
stopped
after
doing
Eminem.
weird stuff?
No, but it's just like. This is what happens, man. When you call someone a Nazi, then they just start making diss tracks. This is his third diss track.
Remember all those diss tracks Hitler released?
Yeah.
I
Think about your next words carefully.
all I can think of is that meme of like where the guy puts his finger up and then he brings it back down because he just doesn't know what to think. Like
Yeah.
doesn't know what to say.
My favorite. See, there's no good way to say what I was about to say, but there was a funny. Did you guys
I can
watch
think of
John?
something good to say.
Did you watch John?
I can think of something good to say.
What?
Welcome to Pop Culture Unboxing.
So this is the intro.
Sure.
We're starting with Hitler.
I don't care. I haven't been happy with any of this.
Hitler's
so
our intro.
I'm gonna go into the editing floor and figure something out with this. Hi, I'm Matt, not Hitler.
I even put on my happy podcaster voice
He's
in order to
Zach.
give my
That's
intro.
Zach,
Not
not
Hitler.
Mengele.
Ooh,
And that's Ryan, not...
Churchill.
Okay.
Who's Mangala?
He was the doctor that did all the horrible experiments.
Oh dear Lord!
He wasn't Hitler. Who was Hitler's right-hand man, though? It was something else that started with an M. That was what I was going to say for you, but I
Wasn't
couldn't
it
think of
his
the name.
wife? That
No. There was a dude. It also started with an M. I should remember this because I think he was a major character in Man in the High Castle.
I don't know.
Whenever Hitler dies in that show, he's the guy that takes over.
Does
I
he
am-
see
while.
Nazi?
Matt, I am an idiot. And
I knew that.
Don't know much of anything. So
You've never watched Man in the
can't-
High Castle?
No.
It's a show that starts off strong for 3 seasons and then jumps the shark and falls into a pit in the 4th season.
that has the guy. Who's the main actor in it?
The main character's a girl. And she is... I think it's the same girl who plays Arwen. Liv Tyler. No, it's not. It's not Liv Tyler. Is it?
I don't know. I didn't see the film. I haven't
the
seen
internet.
the show.
To IMDb we go. IMDb changed their layout and it's pissing me off. They moved the search thing from the top to the bottom.
Should you
Well,
censor
I
that
actually
word
It
out?
confuses- I don't censor that.
Really?
No.
You know what's crazy?
Man in the... I'm sorry, are you talking?
Yes, I am. I was gonna say I've been taking these coding classes, and there's actually an open source IMBD.
IMDb.
Yeah, I am. Say it again.
IMDb.
Yeah, there's an open source one of those. I can actually write us a program so that I can look up the name and it'll pull me all that information immediately.
I'm totally wrong. It's not Liv Tyler. I was thinking of Kira from Chronicles of Riddick.
It's weird when he admits that he's wrong.
And it's
Wait, hold on.
Alexa Davalos.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
I was incorrect.
No, well, even at that, I'll be completely honest with you.
Well,
There's
so-
been very, very few things in this podcast, pop culture wise, that you have like actually gotten wrong.
I'm
and
just
that's not me-
surprised you
that's
admitted
not me
it.
making a joke. That's me actually being surprised.
Actors are one of the things I'm usually really
Actors.
good at. Words are not one of the things I'm good at, but actors are, and I should have gotten this right. And it was on the tip of my tongue, but I'm like, no, I don't think she was in much after Riddick. And so I went with Liv Tyler because there's times where they look similar, but
Riddick was one of those ones that was a fun like.
which one are you talking about?
The Riddick that I can think of, there's two. Well,
Three.
I think there's two of them that
There's three of them.
I know there's three,
Oh.
but there's two of them that I think
of
of. Is the
them
one with
ends.
his dog, and then the one where
That'd be the third one.
you
I
keep
think.
what you kill. That was a good one. That was the
That's
first
the
one
second
that I
and third
saw.
one.
Yeah,
You didn't see Pitch Black?
I don't think I saw
It's the
Pitch
one where
Black.
it's nighttime most of the movie, and the monsters that can't see. Or
That's
can-
the
Yeah,
one
that's
where
where he
the
gets his
where
eyes.
the one where his like love interest gets murdered at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she gets a bug.
that one gets a sad.
I feel like that
ending
happens a
That
lot
was
to
the
her.
rough.
whole way. Speaking of sad endings, oh wait, you want to keep talking about this? With
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Hey, you know, it's weird. My dad. We were talking about this
You looked
recently.
very mad when about this movie.
We were talking about this recently. So so Riddick sets up in Pitch Black, and I think it goes more into it in Chronicles about how his eyes work, and they're vague about it. It's like he traded stuff in prison for a guy to do the surgery.
Yeah.
But then in
What's-
Pitch Black,
what's
remember how he figures out how the
I've never seen any of the films. I just know that from.
Oh.
I know that woman dies in it from like.
Well, then I'm not talking
countdowns.
about this because I'm leading up to the big twist. One of the big twists at the end of Pitch Black. Wait,
Probably.
you've seen Chronicles already though.
Yes, I believe.
Never mind.
Chronicles
You
is
already
the one
know.
that I
You
saw.
would know the twist then. The main girl in Chronicles.
Wait a minute. That's screwed up. You're
Are you
a-
actually going to watch these movies?
No, but it's
Okay.
it's kind of me. You're like, I don't want to ruin it for Zach, but Ryan, who cares about Ryan?
Because you're not going to watch them. I know that.
Matt, does that mean you really don't care about me?
I care about you.
That
Do you
means
not
he
want to know
does-
the twist?
No, I like the twist. But usually when you care about someone, you don't
remember
care
the
if they
chick
lose
in
it.
the girl in Chronicles, the main one, who's in like the cage.
Yes.
In the first movie, she's in that as well.
Yeah, because originally she knew him when she was a kid.
Yes.
Yes.
In Pitch Black, she's a kid. So the general premise, they're all in cryosleep on a ship, and they hit an asteroid storm or a meteorite storm or something like that, and the ship gets damaged, and so they go for an emergency landing on a planet, and the ship crashes. It's a cool sequence, and there's only a handful of survivors, and she's one of them, and Riddick is one of them. And they're on this planet. They find a settlement, but there's no one there. And they're like, "Where did everybody go?" And then they realize that once in a while, this planet goes into a zone where all the other planets in the solar system block the sun, and it's nighttime for months.
Yeah.
And then monsters come out that only come out at night, and thriller action movie hijinks ensue. But one of the characters is this young boy who's a kid. And as the movie goes
Hold
on,
on,
he's a
As
boy.
young boys are, they're
If
kids.
there's a young boy that's a kid.
Yes. Wow. And then toward the end of the movie, Riddick doesn't really look at anyone. He says she's bleeding, and the two women there look around and like neither of us are bleeding, and he points at the kid.
Yeah.
And so the insinuation is that he smelled her having a period. And it's like, okay, so his eyes are really good, but he can just smell that?
Wait a minute, I'm really confused because you said it was a young boy.
Yes.
that's a kid.
And so based on what I've told you, what is your assumption?
Okay, I thought. I'm sorry.
What is your assumption? What do you
I thought you messed
assumption
up.
is that I shouldn't make a
thought
trans
you
joke?
messed up.
I didn't.
Okay.
You're supposed to think that this kid's a boy until that, and then you're like, oh, it's a girl disguised as a boy. And then she gives some reason why she's pretending to be a boy. But then she grows up and she's a main character in Chronicles of Riddick, which is a cool movie, by the way.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed Chronicles. It was one of those things where it's like you have like you know who the characters are because they built some really good standard characters, but the story was unique enough to where it was
And
it
so
was still
actually,
interesting.
so was I don't know if you caught it in Chronicles. The priest type dude that he goes to at the beginning was also one of the survivors.
Oh, okay.
Him and she's on. Does he call her Jack in that movie?
I don't remember to be
She's
honest with you
Kira in the credits.
because I haven't seen the movies in years now.
In the first movie, she goes by Jack, but then in Chronicles,
yeah.
she changes her name to Kira.
Yeah, because he still calls because
And
he still
they
refers to her as Jack.
Are
a
the
couple
only
times.
two survivors along with Riddick.
Okay.
And so they're both in Chronicles, and then they both get it.
Yeah.
But Chronicles just had such cool world building of like,
Yeah. It was kind of cool.
Yeah,
and there's a ton of movies that, like, when I was growing up, I think it was like, what was it, like TBS used to put movies on all the time.
yeah.
And like that's what my mom and I would do on weekends. Is like she would clean the house, and while she was cleaning the house, I would watch movies with her. So like I'd help her fold laundry or whatnot, and watch movies like that.
But all
so,
three
which
of
is
those
why I
movies have-
like things like Pretty Woman and like all those movies that like they never got real big, like in the box offices, but they're still all the ones that still play today, and everybody knows them.
All three of those movies have pretty dark endings. And I want to segue this into what Ryan's talking about, but I just had a thought that I wanted to mention really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you haven't noticed, all 5 seasons of the original Muppet Show are now available on Disney Plus, and I believe the last 2 of which were never aired or publicly available, other than when they originally aired.
Wow.
So definitely time
Disney
to go through and
reached
binge
into
those.
the vault or the reached into the vault.
Yeah. I'm happy with it. I love the Muppets. I think I've made that clear. The
What
Muppets
did you
are
initially
great.
say?
The vault.
The Vought, the villains, and the boys.
Yeah.
But yeah, those Riddick movies, they're all pretty dark, right, Zach?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ryan here, Darkness. He acquainted Dark. He friend Darkness in Show Watch. He did.
Are you okay? You okay?
You smell
You've
some,
been-
you
you've
smell some
had a-
toast over there?
You're having some issues today.
No,
You all
I'm
right?
not. I'm
Feeling
not.
okay?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Ryan, talk about the dark thing that you know.
Okay.
What's been put into your brain?
Was it the last episode? I think the last episode I told you guys I started rewatching the DC animated films.
Yeah.
So I never made it up to like Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. That's what it's called.
Okay.
Boy,
So
not prepared.
I don't know if it's gonna make. I don't know how much of our talk before this is gonna make it into the show. But I asked you, how many colons are in that title? Because I'm picturing 2: Justice League : Dark : Apocalypse.
I think
War.
I'm pretty sure there's only one, and it's
But that's a mouthful of a title.
It is. It also, while you're looking that up, it also has that same like copy my work, but don't really from Infinity War.
yeah.
It's change it enough so that it doesn't look the same.
Are they gonna make a sequel called The Last Game?
It's called Justice League Dark :
it'll be the last joke.
Apocalypse War.
What's a better way to say Endgame?
It'd be
The last-
end joke because it would be Joker related.
Okay. Or the end of the joke, so they're not too close to Endgame.
Yeah, but it's gonna
Go
be all
on.
the same, like all the relative characters.
Ryan just wants
in
to
the same
revel
poster.
in the.
It's
He
just-
wants everyone else to suffer.
It's
with him.
hilarious. It was it was like
Was it intended to be hilarious?
no, but when I watched it, it's because the film eventually, like, it goes up to a normal like animated film. You're like, okay, I get what's going on, and then it just goes from 0 to 100 so quick with
Yeah.
all the deaths. It's like DC was just like, you know how we love all of our heroes, let's murder them in brutal ways. So basically, what this was is like when the first,
Can I guess one of these deaths?
sure,
Does Hulk rip Rorschach in half?
that hurt my nose, I'm bleeding. But
That was carefully crafted to annoy you.
well, so how the Justice League how these films, how they started the animated films, kind of how they started the normal Justice League live action film, never really gave us any background of the characters. So like the first of these films really starts out with Flash doing going back in time, that whole film.
Yeah.
And then it goes to normal Justice League, and the first time we ever see all these characters really together, other than that, is they fight Doomsday, or not Doomsday. They fight Darkseid, and then Darkseid eventually loses, even though it looks like it's not going to go very well. So
Wait, you're telling me that the villain almost wins and then loses?
yes,
No.
So now
I'm sorry. I
Apocalypse War ends like 15 films later.
Okay.
After all these different characters got introduced.
How much
new
free time do
characters-
you have?
Shut up. What basically happens is like Apocalypse comes, which is the planet that Darkseid has taken over. He renamed it Apocalypse, and that's why it's called Apocalypse
I
War.
thought Apocalypse was a person.
No, so Apocalypse becomes.
I'm pretty sure he was in the DC.
I thought it was Road
I'm thinking
Pig.
of X-Men. X-Men has Apocalypse.
I thought Road Pig was
Yeah.
the one man apocalypse.
No, you're thinking of the Road Warrior.
Oh man, I just
For those that know
I'm like picturing-
Overwatch, they're
I'm
probably looking at me like, what?
picturing all of like the deaths, and some of them are just so like funny. They're
Okay.
funny. I have a list of how
Again, unintentionally so, right?
yeah. So by this at this point, Darkseid figured out that he can't win with normal parademons. So what he does,
Normal what?
parademons, which are which are his minions. They're called
Okay.
parademons.
So they like.
So what he
Damn it! Zach beat me to it.
so
I did it.
so what he did, he's like, I'm gonna take my parademons. I'm gonna go take that thing that killed Superman, which Superman comes back to life, but
Kryptonite, right?
no, Doomsday. The character Doomsday killed
Yes.
Superman. Well, eventually,
But not with
Superman comes
kryptonite.
back. No, not with kryptonite.
Okay.
But he's like, I'm gonna take Doomsday's DNA and put him with parademons. So what do you think he called these things?
Paradoomsday demons.
Close. They're called just paradooms.
I'll be honest with you. The mental picture I got was the shadows from Heartless just coming down with tiny parachutes down. down
I know what those are.
Yeah,
I've never played any of those games, but I know what those are because I've watched Ryan
you watched
and
us
others
play it.
act.
That was what I got.
Why not Paradoomons? Like go the
I don't know.
That would
man.
have been even better.
But the paradooms come.
Paradoomons.
So I'm not going to go over like the real plot. I just was like, this film goes so crazy when the war finally happens. All right, so I have a list of these aren't in order, but these are some of the like deaths and how it really happens. So
Okay.
first we get Green Lantern Hal Jordan Green Lantern, that version. of
Ryan
him.
Reynolds.
He just gets stabbed by the demons like 50 times.
That sucks.
They cut to him, and that's what they cut to him, and he gets stabbed like 50 times. That's it. So you're like, okay, how's this gonna go? Then we get Hawkman. That's what they call him in this.
Hawkman.
That's what
Okay.
they call him in this.
But
They
does he
just
just
show
shoot
him getting
arrows?
his wings ripped off, and
Ow.
they rip his head.
Oh, so he's basically Angel from
yeah.
X-Men.
Aquaman just gets split in half with eye beams.
Yikes.
Ow.
That's
Martian
tough.
Manhunter gets burnt alive.
Yikes.
Yeah, because isn't phosphorus the only way to kill him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why do you know more of this than I do?
Well, I watched a small video that was really entertaining.
Okay.
It was when Bruce Wayne's backup plans all got released.
Eventually in the film, they attack the Green Lantern Corps, and they
Okay.
all get destroyed. But the last remaining one that Green Lantern human alive is John Stewart, who everyone like, oh, he's gonna do something cool.
The news
he
guy?
blows up the thing that charges their rings, and it fries him so bad that all that is left is his bones that then eventually go away in dust. So that's fun. Zatanna.
Wait, like Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi one.
Yes. Well, yeah, actually.
That of all that whole movie, that's the one shot that has been burned into my mind since being a child.
I think the best part of that was Ryan was just so waiting for a post that when you actually gave a good one, he was like, "Yeah," like it added to my story.
Zatanna, who is dating John Constantine,
Who's Zatanna?
she is like a magical character.
Scarlet Witch. Okay.
Okay, yeah, kinda.
Can you just translate these to Marvel characters for me?
Sure. Zatanna, Scarlet Witch, gets ripped apart and eaten alive by the demons while screaming for John Constantine to help her, and he just walks away.
That's horrifying.
So that happens.
Why are you laughing?
Kind of like the
Because
Nightlock moment.
dude,
in
this all happens
100
within
Games.
like a span of 45 minutes, just
Yikes.
watching people get killed. John Constantine gets his neck broken by evil Superman and then just gets brought back to life.
Okay.
Basically, Zatanna or
Scarlet
Witch, that's who you wanted me to compare it to. Okay, Scarlet Witch does a mercy thing from Overwatch. It just says heroes never die and brought him back to life with her own dead soul somehow.
Despite him leaving her to die.
Yes. Superman, he doesn't get to die. So after the war, after all like the heroes lose, Darkseid leaves some of them alive because he has plans for them. Wonder Woman gets her arm cut off, or I'm sorry, not cut off, ripped off, and you hear all the noises and like see it. And then she becomes like half robotic and is tortured by Doomsday until she's brainwashed. Batman just gets electrocuted until he's brainwashed. Superman, when you think the most powerful thing in the universe, we're going to use him. No, what he does, Doomsday injects his blood with kryptonite liquid kryptonite to the point that now he cannot use his powers, and every day is living torture. He walks around and burning in his own skin, burning him to death. But he never
the
dies.
kryptonite eventually be flushed out?
It
Does
doesn't.
Superman not have kidneys?
No, he gets it injected into the bloodstream, and it mixes with his bloodstream. It's so crazy.
Yes, and your blood is routinely cleaned.
Well, that's the thing. Because
imagine getting that kryptonite stone. Oh,
Oh,
well,
get it? Because it's like a kidney stone. But
I
it's
get it.
kryptonite.
literally, your kidneys clean your blood. Literally unwatchable.
Nightwing just gets stabbed.
Darkwing Duck.
Yes.
Darkwing Duck.
Nightwing gets stabbed. Starfire gets ripped in half and also somehow lives just to become a cyborg. So does Nightwing. Nightwing also survives, but he's so traumatized by what happened that he's crazy. And I'll get to how that.
You know what they
applies
should have done
the
to
end,
fix
but
them is if they were both ripped in half, is just give them the other person's half
Bane
and make
gets-
Starwing and Nightfire. There you go. I could be a writer for DC.
This is like such a weird.
Bane gets eaten alive.
Oh,
He gets like overrun and eaten alive.
poor Bane.
The Black Mana. First they
Couldn't
stab
live with
him,
your
but they decide
failure.
that wasn't enough, so they pick him up and rip him in half from his legs and his arms.
Wait, now you're talking about villains.
Well, they all team together to try to fight in this war. Lex Luthor, being like a big character in this, just falls on a spike.
Of course it does.
Batgirl, a human, does her best to fight back, but eventually gets
Cripple Batwoman?
normal Bat.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Batgirl and Batwoman. This technically happens to both of them, but we see Batgirl.
I like how you're not going to touch the insensitive joke I just made.
I don't want to pay attention to you. She gets ripped to shreds, and like after winning, one just grabs her wrist, throws her, slams her to the ground, and then they just gang up, and you just hear her scream no. All of this, you see the blood, you see bones flying, you see gruesome stuff, and you think like that was pretty crazy. I can't imagine what's going to happen. The film ends with the heroes still winning. They kill Doomsday, but all of their friends are dead. They're all mutilated, and the world, and just at the same time, the universe decides it's done with it too, and it's going to blow itself up. So the films like these.
So some bad things happen to some superpowered people on Earth, and the entire universe says, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what DC is essentially telling us is all those old philosophers were right. The Earth is the center of the universe.
So what happened was so just like these films all started, Flash did the Flashpoint thing. Constantine asks Flash to do it again to try to reset it, knowing that the end is always going to be this. So basically, Constantine asked the Flash to relive this over and over again. So his friends, so all of them can just keep living on and be brutally murdered again. It's fun.
I'll tell you
Batman-
right now, based on your descriptions, I will never watch this.
They're so
because I
crazy.
am already feeling a little sick hearing your descriptions of them.
Well, you want to hear the craziest
And
part?
you know I can't handle that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. But there's also a portion where Batman and Damian Wayne fight. Batman, after he's like at the end of the film, Batman is like under Doomsday's control. He fights Damian Wayne. Damian Wayne is his only legitimate son and his only legitimate Robin that's like blood related. They fight each other, and right before they fight, Batman just straight up tells Damian, he's like, Talia, your mom, drugged me to conceive you, and then goaded me to raise you, and you were never my actual son, just a burden. And then continues to brutally beat the crap out of this
Yikes.
kid. And then when Damian's beaten, he's kneeling on the ground, Bruce just decides, for extra measure, instead of just killing him right there, I'm going to stab him in the thigh. He just stabs him in the thigh. And then eventually, like, the
Why
film
not
changes.
just castrate him while you're at that so he can't make any more Waynes?
Well, you would think you just kill him.
Yeah,
But
that too.
That's just
I like how all this stuff's happening, but Batman draws the line at mutilation.
Well, so here's the crazy thing. He like snaps out of it at the last minute because he sees Damien as him when Bruce was a kid. Like he like pictures like Bruce now sees himself as Joe Chill, who is the person that killed his parents, and he sees Damien as him as a kid. And then he immediately just snaps out of it.
I'm sure that's some cold comfort for the guy with a knife in his thigh.
Yeah. So
Oh man, I regret
also,
stabbing you to death.
Damien,
Oh, that makes it all better. My leg doesn't even hurt anymore. You're gonna
Damien's-
kiss it and make it better.
Damien sacrifices himself and then after that, like things happen and Cyborg kills Doomsday by blowing up, or not Doomsday, blows up Apocalypse because he's also been tortured and made a part of the planet. That's weird. That's stupid superhero stuff. Oh, Superman, to get his powers back, gets get possessed by Trigon, Raven's dad, and then continues to, instead of being a weapon to help them, just starts trying to kill everybody. Doesn't discriminate. Lois, who is now the president of, well, what's left, the president of the United States, because he's dead.
How many other people are dead that Lois Lane is?
I was gonna say, like what happened here?
How far down the
What are
line
we
do you have to
missing?
go for the
Dude,
head writer of the New York's newspaper, essentially New York's newspaper, to become the president?
So many
they
people.
are the most qualified.
Yes,
Dude.
based on their writing.
By the time this film rolls the credits, there's so many dead people that you don't even care anymore. They try to kind of play it off like it's a happy ending. Like, we did win. I mean, everyone's dead outside of the Titan's tower that's already smashed in half.
I have a word for you to. I have a word for everyone to look up. I'm going to spell it for you. Phyrrric. Do you know what that word spells?
No,
Pyrrhic. Do you know what that means?
no, because I'm illiterate.
I just want to look up I like to do this. I know what words mean, but I like to look up the dictionary definition. How did I spell
That
it?
seems like a really good excuse for not actually knowing what the word.
How did I spell it? It's Pyrrhic.
See,
I got the H mixed up.
See, it's I know what the word says, and I know what it means, but also, how did I spell it again?
A Pyrrhic victory is a victory that is won at too great a cost to be worthwhile for the victor.
I mean, that's how I felt at
Yeah.
the end. It felt very. I mean,
Well, and to be honest with you, what I got out of your whole synopsis was that you should just go watch a Marvel movie.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
that's the thing.
Remember
They're
that part of
also
the Marvel movie where someone gets their arm ripped off? Oh, wait. Well,
Well, I think
Ultron does it,
I think the thing,
but
was
it's a little less gory.
DC wanted to go a darker route, and I think there's a good way to show that there's sacrifice in winning sometimes
Dude,
without
DC's
getting to the point where, like, when you're done with that, you're like, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
how we
like-
got to DC Future State, which is what the comic run that DC is going through right now. I mean, I think this is like DC Comics is it's not like they have not made dark comics. They have, and they always seem like they're surrounded around Batman.
By the way, I learned
I wonder
something
why.
recently about how the name DC Comics doesn't make much sense.
Detective Comics?
Detective Comics.
No, they're called Detective Comics.
Yeah, but you keep saying DC Comics.
Yo, yeah, that's because they're not supposed to. I don't think it's supposed to be Detective Comics. I think there's something. The C stands
their
for
titles always
DCU.
said DC Comics before. Now they just says DC.
Yeah, because it was always Detective Comics. That's
Yeah, it's just DC. But then they always had the logo that said DC Comics. It's like, okay, what does Marvel stand for?
Oh, they're just because they're modern Marvels.
That was a good show.
What are you trying to? Are you trying to set me up for a joke?
I was.
What?
I was hoping you wouldn't take it at face value that I asked what Marvel stood for, but you did.
What does Marvel stand for?
I don't know.
What was the joke you wanted?
It doesn't stand for anything. It's the word Marvel.
You can't set up a joke but not know the punchline you want.
Because I just wanted any punchline, but then you didn't give me anything. You responded to it like it was a serious question.
I at least took it to a phenomenal show that I used to watch as a kid called Modern Marvels. That's how I learned a lot of my stuff.
I hate it when you do that way too often. You
do
set
what?
me up for a joke, but you know there's no punchline, so you want me to. You set me up to fail.
I think the punchline is
Ryan,
you
it's only because
recognizing it's a joke.
It's only because I believe in you, Ryan.
Sure you do.
But no, I think that's the joke, is that he knows that you're going to identify it as a lead up, and then you're going to purposely break it.
What
And,
did I
like,
just
that's the
say?
whole point.
Why did I bring up Future State? Oh,
You want to talk about
the reason Future State exists is a dark thing where Batman becomes the Batman who laughs and then recruits evil Batman from all of the dark multiverse because all those planets are going to end and he's trying to take over the world. And then after everything, there's literally a section of the comic where Batman is holding a scythe and he has a bat cycle, but it's made of like bat bones. It looks
bones.
incredible.
I don't think bat bones are very strong building material.
Bat bones.
But
Do you want to talk about better comic book stuff?
hey, DC's good.
Yeah,
They are.
DC's passable.
DC's good. You just wait a minute. You don't even read them. You don't read Marvel or DC, so
I've read
don't
a comic.
review
I've
them.
read a comic.
What comic have you read?
I've read The Watchmen.
That's a DC property.
I have read.
Did you love The Watchmen?
It was good.
Okay,
I have read a Spiderman comic.
just one.
I've read a couple. One of them was Spider-Man 2099. I've read a Fantastic Four comic.
Fan Four Stick.
Fan Four Stick. I've read. I own the Kick-Ass book, the novel, visual novel. I
So
haven't read it.
I've
I've read the Destiny comic they released. I think there was a Hulk comic.
you think you read a Hulk comic? Not
I
sure
had a
about
stack
that
of
one.
comics like this tall at one point.
Good
For those of you
you.
that
I
can't
read
Good
them.
for
see,
you.
Matt
Yeah.
gave a finger description of distance, which came out to about 1.5 inches.
Yeah, I think I've read a Batman comic.
Why do you keep saying them like that?
Saying like what?
Say that name again.
Batman.
Okay.
There might have been a Superman comic there.
Say Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
Oh, I thought he was because he keeps calling it Superman, Batman. I thought he was going to say Wonder Woman.
I would never say Wonder
Instead of
Woman.
I thought that's what he was going to do.
There was no Martian Manhunter comics.
Okay.
I wonder if they're ever going to release.
Adam Warlock was in one of the ones I read, I think. Wait, who's Reed's son?
What? Reed Richards' son?
And
he's
with
not
Storm.
Adam Warlock.
I was
Who's their son?
going to say Warlock's an MCU character, not a DC character.
Adam Warlock.
Fantastic Four is a Marvel character.
Yes.
Oh, were you just going over?
I don't know what Reed's
comics
son
in
is.
general.
Yeah, him
or-
and
I don't know.
Storm Lady had a kid in this comic.
Sue Storm?
Yeah.
Storm Lady.
The Storm
Lady.
Not the X-Men Storm.
No,
the
the
actual
other one.
woman's name is Sue
That's the first
Storm.
thing I thought of, and I was just like, wait a second, we're crossing all types of wires here.
See, that's the problem when you have a character that's named Sue Storm and a character that's
like-
also called Storm. People get confused.
It's like the
I'm trying to think of other ones that were there.
It's like that meme where they have an AI watch
Ryan
like
wants to
1,000
know all of
hours.
these. There was probably a second Batman comic there.
Okay. What was the comic for the Fantastic Four that you heard, that you read? What happened in it?
There was a kid that was theirs, and he was powerful.
Okay.
In
In a world of superheroes, no.
That was about all I remember.
There was a kid, there was a bad guy.
Yeah,
the bad
there-
guy almost won, and then the good guys won.
There were comic boobs in the Spider-Man 2099 comic book, in like one of the windows he's swinging by.
I was like,
What?
There were comic boobs.
Oh man.
Okay.
Yep. Miguel was his name.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Have you guys
He was one of the Spider-Men.
have you guys
Anything
ever
else? Any other comics that you read?
have you guys ever watched a Family Guy bit where it just keeps going and you're sitting there thinking, man, like this should have ended like 2 minutes ago.
What happened to the Destiny comic?
There was a bunch of them.
Okay.
Anna Bray was in one of them.
Who?
Anna Bray.
Was Peter
She had a
Dinklage in one?
girlfriend. She's one of them lesbians.
All right, that one got me.
She-
That was worth it.
She checks all the demographic boxes for Destiny. Not only does she practice the lesbianisms, she's also an Asian.
I think Ryan is gonna pass out from lack of oxygen here in a minute for laughing so hard.
Wow, that's a lot. There's a lot.
And then there's a heist one with Cade 6, the Ribbit, the Robit,
the robots.
where he gets Pet Revenge
Oh,
and
please commit toaster bath.
someone else. There was others in that. Maybe Marcus Wren was one of them. Not to be confused with Kyle Ren, the villain in
Kyle
the
Ren.
Star Wars.
The Stair
Star
Wars.
Wars.
The Star Wars
It's the Stairwares.
against Ray Solo.
Ray Solo.
Oh man. Oh, it hurts. The back of my throat hurts.
There were other comics.
I don't want to ask anymore.
Okay.
I'm done.
No more questions. Are you sure you don't have any more questions?
Zach, what do you want to talk about?
Oh man. I'll be honest with you. When you started going off about the lesbianisms and the Asians, and they hit all I could think of is like watching a really bad Netflix adaptation of something where it's like, you know what? We need some real character development. Let's just throw in diversity. And it's just like, you check a box. You must be interesting.
The bad thing is
Your character is black.
Yeah. So we're gonna do any other character development.
Your
We're just gonna
character
give
is
you a demographic.
Be woman like woman. That's your character. That's development.
please stop.
The
fact that I could hear you, like I could hear it. I could hear you thinking of how you wanted to say missay those words every time you would say one. I
You
could
need to say them.
like instead of saying,
No, he's laughing even harder.
it doesn't matter. It
He's
doesn't
falling. He had a trap set up for me. And
Kyle Ren.
Kyle Ren. The Knights of Kyle. There we go. That may have been the best
There we
joke I've
go.
ever told on this podcast. The Knights
All I
of
can think
Kyle.
of the Knights of Kyle was just like an Amanda. Do you remember the Amanda show when we were kids? Totally Kyle.
Totally Kyle.
It's just-
Dude, my first
that's
thought
the
went
name
to
of his band.
my first thought went to Last Man Standing, the Kyle and Last Man Standing.
Oh yeah.
I was just thinking about that. Oh.
no more questions.
No, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Do you want to talk about some other Marvel thing?
Podcast over. Good night.
I guess I should have any more comics you want to talk about?
No, not off the top of my head. I'll let you know if they come up.
I'll be honest with you. I'm just going through really bad names like the Green Lamp, Batmange.
Ooh, that was dirty.
Ironmare.
A man made of urns.
Classic film. I heard bad. One day, Tony Stark was just walking through the desert when suddenly he was captured by terrorists. I think I can quote that whole video from memory, and I haven't seen it in years.
So I watched this video the other day, and that just reminded me of people with Boston accents, and they asked them to say
can't
Aaron earned an iron.
Yeah,
earn.
I've seen that too.
And the guy looks at it and goes, earned and earn. And like his face is priceless because he's like, whoa,
Yeah.
like I just realized I don't talk right.
Yeah.
And he asks his buddy, he's like, say this. He's like, say this. And he's like, he does the same thing, earned and earn. And like the other guy doesn't catch it. But
Yeah.
the first guy's like, do we really talk like that?
You watch the guy having a crisis. It's just so funny.
what
I'll try to find the link for it and put it in here. It's hilarious because
it's
the
great.
first guy realizes it as he's saying it, but none of the other guys realize it.
Well, yeah, I think it's great. I think it's like the second or third guy is just like, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like, what's the problem? He's like,
And then
he's like, if I tried to tell you that sentence and you didn't read it, you wouldn't know what
And
I'm
on top
saying.
of that, they keep calling each other dummy. So, like, they're so classically Boston.
dude, it was so
Boston.
great.
Boston. I said Boston.
No, you
have
said
you ever
Boston.
seen? Have you ever seen the
was
that
Baltimore.
old Baltimore? I think it's I
I
don't
thought,
know.
I thought it was Baltimore accent.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
you made me think of that car commercial that just opens with "F you, Baltimore." Have you ever seen that one? No. I'll show it to you after this show.
You
So great.
Have you never seen it?
I know which one you're saying. You said it to me before.
Okay.
You know what's sad is that I hear that and then I think there's such a wide range of people that would say that. I can't pin it down to a product.
Yeah. Ryan,
What?
there's a new movie coming out.
What's
eventually.
that? There's several new movies coming out. You're gonna have to be a little bit more
Spiderman.
specific. Don't do it. Don't do it.
No Way Home.
Oh, good job. You said
No
it
Way
great.
What were
Home.
you expecting?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Alternatively, Spider-Man Home Slice
Did you? Yeah. That's,
or No More Home. I think was one of them.
yeah, no
I
more
forget.
home.
All the cast made up different ones.
They should
that
have
all
called
had the
it
word home in
Homeward
them.
Bound.
There was
I've seen that one too.
there was one there was one on there that they had like crossed out that what did I tell you it said? I can't remember now. It's like right next to the name.
It's really hard to follow the conversation that just happened with this one because there are things I do want to talk about with this movie and be serious about.
It says home worlds. There's a section where they said home worlds. And well, that's not.
I don't like it.
That would be multiverse.
Yeah, that's the point. I don't think it was that. I don't think that was actually the name. I think that was their way of hinting that like there may be more Spider-Man.
They're really pigeonholing themselves though with the Spider movies.
That film's gonna be bad. I'm telling you right now. I don't think they're gonna be good.
If it were any other studio that was doing it, I would agree. But just the fact that it's Marvel is outweighing all the things that seem to be stacking up to it being a bad movie.
Well, and I agree. I think
I don't know, man. I feel like what they're gonna do is too much.
I don't know.
I think Spider-Man. To be honest with you, Spider-Man is the last MCU movie that I'm actually excited about because I feel like the rest of it's like, hey, listen, we've already told our story, and now we're just trying to keep it going.
Yeah.
And
you don't
I think Spider-Man
about the Eternals.
Well, and that's kind of the thing is like they have an opportunity to do it well. I'm just not anticipating it. So like, I think that Spider-Man is the last one where they're going to have like real original content that can come through.
I don't know.
And well, that one and
Doctor Strange.
Strange still has it because he's only had what 2 movies.
Well, and we already know he's tying into Scarlet Witch. And with the stuff we're hearing about Spider-Man, there's almost no way he's not tying into the multiverse too.
Did you see the Paul Bettany interview?
No.
So
no.
After they interviewed him after this episode that just aired, and
like last week's the one with the reveal, right?
Yeah, the reveal who the villain was.
I'm caught up. Then.
And he said that we haven't seen the real reveal is coming.
Okay.
Like there's still one more.
I figured that.
There's one more character to be revealed, and it's someone that Paul Bettany has been very excited to work with. He's always wanted to work with this person.
Yeah, I felt like that.
Ryan
It
Reynolds?
felt like this wasn't a huge reveal. And if you're wondering why we haven't been talking about it, there's not much we've had. There's not a whole lot to discuss from these, unless you're a huge nerd.
Well,
I have no idea who Agatha Harkness is.
Well, there's two.
With a name like Agatha.
There's potential. I'm thinking it's either going to be Strange, because
Doctor Strange himself.
like Paul Bettany has not. He technically hasn't worked with Doctor Strange because he's never, or with Benedict Cumberbatch because they were never filming together. It's either that, or we're actually going to get Mephisto. And I don't know. I think
Which one's Mephisto?
he's like basically the devil. He's like Satan in the Marvel universe,
Which would be a
It's the
cool
best
thing to
way
have
identify.
for his movie, is that this sets him up.
Yeah. So
Oh, I keep thinking Mysterio.
Because I think at this point, everyone's pretty convinced that Doctor Strange is going to show up in this show.
yeah,
In like
well,
the end.
that's the thing. It's either going to be him or Mephisto, and I think that this Quicksilver, that's who it is. Or I did see one theory that made a little bit more sense. There's a chance that he's the bunny. He's the rabbit that she carried.
That would be funny.
Because she keeps saying about like her husband and where she's from, and when they got married, like all of the dates line up. It obviously not the same year, but the date that she got married to her husband Ralph would have been during the same day of the Salem witch, one of the biggest events of the Salem witch trials, and she's from Connecticut, which is like one of the sites of one of like the so a lot of people think that this Ralph, her husband, who's not there right now, is Mephisto. And
I'd buy it.
He's actually there because a lot of people think that they're kids because of one scene in like a while back when Quicksilver called the kids. He said, "Release hell, demon spawn." There's a comic where her kids, or Agatha. She kind of tricks Wanda into creating kids that are pieces of Mephisto or of Mephisto's soul. So I think that's what this is these kids are that, and they're gonna bring. That's how
that'd be cool.
They're gonna bring him back.
Well, we're close to finding out. There's 2 more episodes left.
Yeah.
And then we have a week or 2 off, and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier starts.
Yeah. Which probably won't apply anything into that.
This is all to talk about Spider-Man. And I like the title. I really like because I feel like it really captures that idea of a multiverse. But on top of that, it really encapsulates the whole thing of last we saw him, his identity got revealed. Like, there's no way home. Like, essentially, there's no way home. He can't hide anywhere. Everyone knows who he is now. Like, I think it's a brilliant title.
I think
with the issues that he's gonna be facing. Granted, the multiverse stuff is a theory, but with all the people they've casted, there's no way he's not involved in the multiverse.
He has to be.
I think the most compelling question is, what is Aunt May gonna do without Iron Man around?
I don't know.
What?
I think that's more of a Marissa Tomei joke than an Aunt May joke.
Yeah.
There's
I mean, Peter's the new Iron Man.
Yeah, it is kind of like this weird.
See, if I had any criticisms about Spider-Man in this, is they basically threw away Uncle Ben, and
I don't think so.
To be honest with you,
because we've only heard his name once, and it was when he
But
was in
that's
suit
fine.
case that he
it
broke.
sucks that they did it, but they had to do it because over the last decade, they've shown it 4 different times, and it's
Yeah.
like, come on, don't rehash
Everyone knows Peter Parker's origin. We don't need to see it again.
The thing is,
and here's the other thing is this Peter Parker, Ben is not as much of an influence on him as Tony is.
I understand that. I'm saying where the problem is. A lot of the best. Look, there's a bigger thing of reason I don't like this Peter Parker very much is this Peter Parker gets a lot of things handed to him, and a mistake is never held against him for very long.
I thought that was the whole plot of the second half of Homecoming.
Not really. I mean but that's the problem is he lost the suit, right?
Yeah.
But Peter has a pretty good life. He gets the suit back eventually. After Tony's gone, he gets to go on field trips. He has a pretty good life.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what made Peter Parker's character in the comics so loved is Peter's life is terrible. Nobody likes him.
Yeah, it's absolutely tragic. Yeah.
Nobody, he can never keep a job. He's downright homeless. He keeps getting evicted from apartments. He never has a successful relationship. He keeps getting all these consequences that happen to him, and they never seem to really be a problem. It's always so easily fixed.
Yeah, but we've seen that Spider-Man already. We saw Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man struggling to afford a place to live and stuff like that. And it's interesting seeing it, but
I understand
it is
that
kind of sad.
This Spider-Man, it's just this Spider-Man
has different issues.
But that's the thing is, I argue he doesn't have any. I feel like he gets off too easy, and that's the thing is, Spider-Man's a very important character for people in general, because where all these other characters have all these superpowers, Peter's powers could have been given to anybody. How Peter got his powers could have happened at anyone at any time. He just happened to be the lucky one. But there's consequences to having those powers, and he doesn't get. There's no consequences for anything he does.
Well, yeah, but
I get you could argue his girlfriend broke up with him, or his girlfriend that he took to the prom, and he couldn't go to the prom with his girlfriend. It's yeah, I get why you would think that those are big problems, but Peter has had massive problems.
Well, but no, you bring up a good point.
It's
to a character the age that his character is, which Tom Holland's quite a bit older than. Well, not quite a bit, but he's older. But to the age Spider-Man is supposed to be, that is a huge issue to have in your life. Is the whole thing of not being able to go to prom at that age. That's a big deal.
Well, and I do think that it is. I actually do kind of agree with Ryan, but I also agree with you too with the consequences, because he's not out of high school yet, are different, and maybe that's something that they should bring into this. But I also agree with Ryan where Peter's motivation is, with great power comes great responsibility, and he always takes somebody else over himself. So if that means he gets evicted because he's the one that has to take the responsibility. And it's almost to a degree of he almost does he does it wrong in trying to do it right, because he would rather lose his apartment, he would rather lose his family than others lose theirs.
No.
And I think I do kind of get. I do see the critique. I do understand.
Yeah, I think something to keep in mind is that I think this is intended to be a younger Spider-Man than we've encountered previously. Is that the Sam Raimi ones tell you that he's a teenager? He's not. Tobey
Yeah.
Maguire does not play a teenager in that movie.
He plays a
Look,
college kid in those.
I agree with people.
Pretty, yeah, exactly.
I agree that this Spider-Man works in this universe. It's just he's just not the Spider-Man that
You expected.
He's not.
I wonder if that's
I
gonna
don't
be
feel
the step.
compelled about this Spider-Man.
I wonder if that's going to be the next step because
course,
now he'll
But
be.
I have another argument for that. Is I could argue the same points on Miles Morales in Into the Spider-Verse. He has a great home, and he's going to a prestigious school, and his issues are at school.
Well, that was always Miles though. Miles never really had any.
So then, but if they can be different than
There's a
characters, then why can't Peter be different?
I
than
guarantee you there's
Peter
gonna
because
be
the
a
only
second
thing
one.
with difference with Miles was he had to deal with like, unfortunately, like he had racism issues that he had to get through. But granted, that Into the Spider-Verse didn't talk about that.
Yeah,
But
that's what I mean.
Well, and Miles also is going to lose his dad, which if they do a second movie, which they probably will because the first one did so well, like he's gonna lose his dad. So now he's lost his uncle, and now he's gonna lose his dad. He's gonna lose all the father figures in his life. But I think that's kind of the archetype for Spider-Man is to
again,
lose
I
the
don't
father
argue
figures.
that
just
father
but the
figures.
same thing just happened to Peter. Is he lost Tony? And that movie's about him struggling with
look,
that.
I'm not saying they're
And
bad
ultimately-
films. I make
Yeah,
that very
it's
clear.
just
I
not
don't
what you
think they're bad
expected.
films. It's just it's not the Peter. Like I feel like he doesn't have any real, like no real big consequences or issues happen in his
I
life.
disagree.
that he
In
should
both
have.
the climaxes of Far From Home and Homecoming,
So
is him they're both him at a very low point.
So interesting concept. If they do Into the Spider, like if they kind of do the Into the
Far
Spider
From
Verse,
Home is more or less like, yeah, he's dealing with the fact that he lost Tony, but really it's the overarching story is like he just wants to ask MJ out and he can't have a normal life.
Which is a legitimate big issue for a teenager.
Yeah.
It's something that the people that are the same age watching it as he is supposed to be on screen can identify with.
Yeah.
well, I do think it, and this is something I want both your guys' opinions on. If this third one gets into the multiverse, who do you think is going to play Miles Morales?
We're not going to see Miles Morales.
Probably not.
You won't.
No.
You don't think we'll even see him?
No. Who voiced him? It wasn't.
I don't remember what his name is, who it was, but
Yeah, we probably won't see him.
you probably aren't going to see him.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
They might tease these other Spider-Men, but I don't know if they're not going to be. There's already too many characters in this movie.
I just happened to randomly one time Google Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and I saw under the cast list
You
Tobey,
can never believe those.
because under the cast list it has Tobey Maguire, Elizabeth Olsen, who plays Scarlet Witch, Andrew Garfield, and then Ryan Reynolds is on that.
Yeah,
list.
I've seen that
Yes.
list.
I was like, what is?
You can't believe those. Not
I'll-
until official casting news.
I'll be honest with you. When the MCU is done, if they don't finish it with Deadpool killing everyone comically, like I'm gonna lose it. Like I would love to see Deadpool come into like an old Captain America and be like, "It's time," and just
Yeah.
like go after him.
But yeah, no. So suffice it to say is that I do disagree with that. Is that we've seen a Spider-Man that's dealing with issues more appropriate to his age.
I'm glad Wong's going to be there.
Dude, Wong is
Yeah.
great.
That'll be good.
I love that character.
He easily became my favorite character in Doctor
My
Strange.
favorite line of him ever in any film is when they come out of those portals and he says, "Is that everybody?" He goes, "You wanted more?"
Yeah,
That's so Wong.
such
so
a
Wong.
cool reveal.
That and the fact that he talks about his favorite ice cream. He's like hunk of chocolate Hulk is our favorite. It's so random.
So great.
Yeah, he's great. I didn't realize this. My dad and I recently watched through IT Crowd. He's in one of the episodes. If anyone has watched that show, he's in the episode where Moss is on the game show where you have to take a string of letters and make the longest word you can with them. And Benedict Wong plays one of the secondary characters in that episode, and he's almost unrecognizable because he's a little bit thinner than he is now. My dad looked up and is that Benedict Wong? I mean, he had sunglasses on, so it was harder to tell. I'm like, I don't think so. But I looked it up and it was.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm trying to think of the name of the game show because I used to watch it.
Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy or...
No, because it was the one where you try to make the longest word possible. They give you a bunch of
a real
letters
game
and-
show?
Yeah, it's an actual game show.
Huh.
I
thought they just
there
made
used
that
to be
up.
a game show network when I was growing up. So like Whammy used to be on there, which I thought was cool, and
What about Wipeout?
Wipeout was on there. There was a ton.
You have anything else, Ryan? Because this podcast is getting long.
I'm just reading like quotes from Wong. And just everything
All
they ever
right.
wrote with it was funny. Just
Do you
like,
have any closing thoughts,
what-
Ryan or Zach?
Seriously, you don't have any money. Attachments to the material is disattachment from the spiritual. And then it just adds, I would not say no to a tuna melt.
Ryan,
What?
do you have anything to close with?
No.
Zach,
This door.
any?
A hunka hulka burning fudge is our favorite. That's what it is.
Anything else?
Nah.
So we should just have
You want me to say something else?
Nick,
I don't know. Do you have anything? I was just making sure.
Dude, I don't
want to
know.
make sure that you can speak your mind.
coming up on next week's episode is 1 hour full of Huang quotes. Nothing
Huang.
else. Just Ryan quoting Huang.
You just want,
Ryan, you better know a lot of Huang quotes.
I mean, I have a list of them right here.
You got to memorize them. No
Nope.
lists allowed next time.
Nope.
Nope.
Thank you guys for listening.
I'm not an actor. What?
Thank you guys for listening.
Oh, yep.
It was a fun episode.
I don't know why I'm saying you're welcome. I didn't listen. I'm here.
Yeah, you don't listen to our show.
I do listen to our show.
Okay.
I just don't listen to it like right now because
I want to ask everybody if you enjoyed this, tell your friends. Yada, yada, yada. Word of mouth. Great podcasting. Helps us out. And your friends will love us too. If you want to find us, you can go onto social media and find us Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Pop Culture Unboxing. If you want to find me in particular, because I'm awesome, you can find me on Twitter at MattRossVO. Ryan.
Oh, you can find me Red Steak Ryan everywhere.
Okay.
You can find me at little_leaf, LIEF. That underscore is important.
Yes, and it's not the word underscore, right?
No, it's an actual underscore.
Okay.
And if you find a middle-aged Brazilian woman, it's not me.
Okay.
I
good
just realized
distinction.
we have the same outro for each. We have like our own little catchphrases
Yeah.
that like fit our personality. Like I don't say any like Instagram or anything. I just say it everywhere. You list it out, and then you always talk about how you're not a
Yeah.
Brazilian woman.
Yeah.
They're all great distinctions to make. And then we also close with something in particular. Me specifically, I like to close with, bye, I love you.
And he says, "Have fun." I don't even know what I say.
Should we swap it this episode?
Yeah,
Who wants to say which?
you say whatever. Which one, pick whichever one you want to say.
Should we just rotate? Like,
So I say, have
so
fun.
you say, okay, yeah.
So I say, "Have fun,"
yeah.
and then you're gonna say what he normally says, which
And-
is,
what
what do you say all the time?
Bye, I love you.
Bye. So you'll say, "Bye, I love you."
You'll
so
say
then it
have-
has to go to you, because that's how
which
the
way are
order
we
is.
go? Yeah, because then you'll say his and I'll say yours.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
So you have to start because I always start it.
Bye, I love you.
have
You
fun.
don't have the energy.
No, I don't. I panicked.
Let's try this again. Say it with my energy.
Okay. Bye, I love you.
Have fun. Have fun.
That was
Bye.
so bad. I'm so sorry.